In just months, the U.S. government is set to say bye-bye to Ben Bernanke. The economist who guided the country through the worst financial crisis in decades is expected to step down early next year. But who will replace him as chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve? Here to talk about the importance of the Fed is VOA's Jim Randle. Now, Jim, before we get into prospects for Bernanke's replacement, let's talk about what the Fed actually is and what it does.
Well, they have two goals. One is to try to maximize employment, to get people jobs, to get the economy going so that people can work, they can make money, they can pay taxes, they can keep going. The other thing is to try to keep inflation from getting completely out of control. Inflation, you have more dollars chasing the same number of goods, your money is worth less, and at some points it becomes worthless. You've got to keep inflation under control. So they have those two goals, which are sometimes contradictory, but inflation is pretty modest right now, and unemployment is a big problem.
Now, there's been talk about a number of different possible candidates for this role as the new chairman of the Fed. Many were thinking that Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, would possibly be the top contender, but now he's withdrawn himself from selection. So who are we seeing now who's rising up?
The next most obvious candidate would be Janet Yellen. She's a very respected economist. She's the current #2 person at the Fed. She ran the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco for a long time. And maybe most important of all, Yellen, more than almost anybody else, recognized the recent financial crisis for what it was, how serious it was, what caused it, what to do about it. She gets a lot of credit for being smart on that.
And why should an international audience be paying attention to this selection?
The United States is the world's biggest economy. Countries all over the world sell stuff to us. And if there's a healthy, robust U.S. economy, it's easier to sell stuff. And that means jobs for people in Bangalore or Indonesia or Mexico or wherever.
Absolutely. Now, if you could, put your sort of spin on things, what would you tell people is the primary focus of this selection? What are they looking for in a candidate?
Well, I think what they're looking for is somebody who can get through a nomination process without too much problem, because the president will say, this is my candidate, and then the Senate will say yes or no, whether that person gets hired or not. So it's got to be somebody who can get through the Senate. Larry Summers apparently thought that he was not going to be able to make it. He had annoyed some Democrats, the president's own party, and the Republicans are, sharpening their knives for anybody the president nominates. So that was going nowhere. So they're looking, and Yellen, I think, probably would be easier to confirm, and she's very respected. And she's a woman. She'll be the first woman to hold this position.
Yeah.
That's not going to hurt her chances it's got to help her chances for being confirmed.
That would be a historical moment, which definitely we'd all like to see. Well, Jim, we always appreciate having you on for your insights into business and the economy. Again, Jim Randle, our VOA economics editor. Thanks for joining us.